Okay, let's dive right in. Amgen just dropped a huge earnings report, and we're going to break it all down for you. We'll look at what's driving their success, what could be a massive game changer for them, and, the real challenges they're facing.
So, first things first, how did the market take the news? Well, the day Amgen announced these results, its stock absolutely shot up. We're talking over 8%. Now, that is a huge one-day jump. It's a pretty clear signal that Wall Street liked what it heard. A lot.
Okay, so why all the excitement? Well, here's the deal. Amgen didn't just meet expectations. They completely blew them out of the water. Wall Street was looking for about $9.5 billion in revenue, right? Amgen came in with nearly 10. They were expecting earnings per share around $4.76. Amgen delivered a whopping $5.29. I mean, this wasn't just a win, it was a total blowout.
And this awesome fourth quarter, it was really just the exclamation point on what was a fantastic year for Amgen. This wasn't some lucky break or a one-off thing. No, this was the result of a full year of really powerful performance across their entire business.
I mean, when you look at the whole year, the numbers are just staggering. We're talking double-digit growth in both revenue and earnings. And get this, they have 14 different products that each sold over $1 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. $14 billion blockbusters. Plus, 18 of their products hit all-time record sales. So you can see this success isn't coming from just one or two hits. It's a really deep, diverse portfolio that's just firing on all cylinders. And that's so important because it gives them a buffer if one drug runs into trouble.
So let's pop the hood and see what's really driving all this momentum. Where's all this growth actually coming from? Well, for starters, look at their biosimilars franchise. Now, these are basically high-quality, lower-cost versions of competitor drugs. And that business alone, it generated a massive $3 billion in sales last year. So that's a huge and growing piece of their business.
And then you've got one of their star drugs, Repatha. Sales for this cholesterol treatment absolutely surged by 36% last year. It's just a perfect example of how their innovative medicines are gaining some serious traction in the market.
And what's so impressive is how broad this growth is. It's not just one area. Their innovative oncology portfolio grew 11%. Their drugs for rare diseases, up 14%. Evenity for osteoporosis jumped 34%. And get this, Tezspire for severe asthma saw sales literally explode by 52%. This is what a diversified and powerful portfolio looks like in action. They're showing strength across a ton of different major areas.
But as impressive as all those numbers are, the real buzz from this report, it isn't just about the drugs they're selling right now. Nope. It's about a potential future mega blockbuster in what is probably the hottest space in pharma today, a weight loss drug they're calling MariTide.
So here's the huge question Amgen is asking, and it's a big one. What if you only needed a weight loss treatment once a month, or maybe even just once a quarter? In a market that's totally dominated by weekly shots, they're working on a drug that could do just that. And if they pull it off, wow, this could completely upend the entire multi-billion-dollar weight loss market.
And don't just take my word for it. The company's own CEO, Robert Bradway, he calls this prospect paradigm changing. That's a huge statement. Amgen is basically betting the farm that less frequent dosing is going to be their secret weapon to win in this incredibly crowded and competitive space.
And they are not messing around. They are moving incredibly fast on this. They saw some really promising data from phase 2, which gave them a big confidence boost. Now, they've already got 6 massive, global phase 3 trials up and running. In fact, the key studies for chronic weight management are already fully enrolled. They are pushing this thing towards the finish line at full speed.
Okay, but of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. To really get the full picture here, we have to look at the challenges Amgen is facing, which, to their credit, they were pretty open about in their report.
So first up, they've hit a pretty significant regulatory snag. The FDA has raised some concerns about one of their drugs, Tavneos. It's for a rare disease, and they've actually asked Amgen to voluntarily pull it from the market. And, that definitely creates a cloud of uncertainty around that product. All right, the second big challenge is something you really have to understand if you follow the pharma world. It's called biosimilar competition. Here's the simple version. When the patent on a big-name drug runs out, other companies can come in and launch almost identical copies. And when that happens, it forces prices down and, you guessed it, eats away at the original drug's sales.
And this isn't some abstract threat for Amgen. 2 of their multi-billion-dollar drugs are about to face this exact pressure head-on.
We're talking about Prolia, which brought in a massive $4.4 billion last year, and Otesla with $2.3 billion in sales. Both of them are expected to see their sales drop as these biosimilar competitors hit the market, and that, for sure, is a real threat to their bottom line.
So, let's recap. You've got these incredible successes on one side, this potentially game-changing new drug on the horizon, but then you've also got some really serious challenges. With all that in the mix, what does Amgen think is going to happen next year?
All right, here's their official forecast. They're projecting continued growth, which is interesting. They see total revenues landing somewhere between $37 and $38.4 billion. They're also guiding for adjusted earnings per share. That's a number that gives you a clear picture of their core business, somewhere in the range of $21.60 to $23. So the bottom line is, even with those headwinds we just talked about, they still expect the business to grow.
And the company's leadership? They're framing this with a whole lot of confidence. Their CFO, Peter Griffith, actually called 2026 a springboard year. I love that term. It suggests they don't see this as a peak, but more like a launch pad for even bigger things down the road. So, this all brings us back to the big central question, right? On one hand, you've got this incredible portfolio of proven billion-dollar blockbusters and this huge, exciting bet on the future with MariTide. But on the other hand, you've got some very real threats from regulators and competition breathing down their neck. So, which one is it going to be? Which of these forces will ultimately define Amgen's future? That, my friends, is the multi-billion-dollar question.